I love that there's treats for Wednesday meditation. Okay, well, and then you can see that I just got out of the shower as my glasses, my very not clean glasses, fog up as my body is still really warm. Yes, thank you, Ruth. I didn't even have to ask if you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, so today I pulled 3 or 4 cards out. So that's where we're headed. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Andrew. I'm a certified mindfulness meditation coach. And most folks will know me as the most times moderator, sometimes guest host of the Do Nothing Project back when it was hosted on this fine platform of YouTube. Hello, Aimless. It's good to see Fred and Saban and Bill B. Hello, Bob. And Paul, as always, rhubarb pie. Strawberry rhubarb pie. Interesting. Now, strawberry rhubarb pie, that feels summer-ish to me, although I don't know if I'm right about that. Hey, Bill J. Let me just see if I can scroll up top. Hi, Brian. Hey, and hello to Gabrielle. So welcome, everybody. Happy May. Hello, Scalane. So if for some reason you are not getting the email reminders, you can always email me at the email that I just put in the chat there. This week I sent you 3 emails instead of just the normal 2. Since it was Star Wars Day on Monday, I did an impromptu live stream for that, and I included the link out to that in case you missed it. It's recorded, no worries. I enjoyed the Star Wars themed meditation for CEC by Aaron on Monday night later that day, and yeah, it's another week. Hello, Sheila. Safe. So you missed it live. You did not miss it altogether. So that's it's out there. And then 6 years ago, I did 2 Star Wars meditations. I also included those in the email. So I'm trying to think of. I think that's most of the stuff. So today, what we're gonna do is I'll tell you what our choices are. So Hear Good, and part of the reason I picked Hear Good is because we did a mantra practice on Monday for I will use the wrestling bell by popular request. But we did a mantra on Monday. That was I'm one with the Force is with me. That's a mantra that's in Rogue One. So that's one option. Feel Good. Okay, that's another option for this. I think we've done Feel Good in the past. Both of those we would consider those in the Unified Mindfulness perspective as being active. So we're trying to actually generate good, positive sensations. We're not just being Joe Friday and it's just the facts, like just what's happening in the moment. And then we've got Feel Out, Hear Out, and then finally just Hear. So those are the 4 that we possibly have. And I'm going to ask Ruth to pick a number between 1 and 4. I'm gonna lay. Well, if we had high production value here, which we don't. Okay, 3. All right. So 3 is just Hear. Okay. So that will be our technique, just Hear. And then really quick. So that is the case. That's a Joe Friday technique, is to call back on my reference there, where we are in noting observer, like we're observing whatever is happening. We're not creating anything. So feel good, and Hear Good we're sort of moving into this notion of like cultivating things. So with just here, which is our technique. Hello, Maureen. Welcome. Just in time. So we have selected just here as our technique. And so that will be, that'll mean if we think of there's see, visual, both see in and see out. So mental imagery, visual, normal standard vision. Here is here in and here out. So we're just doing here. So mental talk is the here in component, and then sounds around us. Hello, Malaya. Welcome. Is our auditory sounds, or here is here out. So I have moved the clock over to here. It's a little further from the microphone. So so if you can't hear the wabi sabi clock as much, let me know. I will endeavor to move it somewhere closer towards the microphone, which is over here. So that's where we're headed. So just here is our technique. I have something to invite, a sonorous bell. You could include here rest if you wanted to, Paul. I'll leave that up. I'll leave that up to you. But in this case, we'll keep it real. We'll keep it real, as the Minutemen would say. The punk rock band, the Minutemen, Econo. So we're just here, and I really like that. I stumbled onto meditations that I wrote when I guest hosted, and Econo was one of the ones that I had written up. So yeah. And if you listened to Dan Harris recently, I think when he was on the NPR show Wildcard, which I didn't know was a thing, where they have a show where they have to pull cards and then the people have to answer questions, which is fantastic. Rachel Carson, is that who that is? Is the host of NPR's Wildcard. He was talking about his love of punk rock, and his first tape, one of the sides of the first tape had the Minutemen on it. So one of my favorite bands of all time. All right. We don't need any more random facts, although I'm full of them. Here we go. Sonorous bell. Oh, wait. Hold on. Got ahead of myself. Welcome to everybody that has just joined. Hello, Cheryl. Did I miss anybody else? I said hi to Malaya. All right. 25 minutes on the clock. That's right, the wrestling bell. All right. Thank you for the reminder, Paul. All right. Not the sonorous bell, the wrestling bell. Now, just as a quick passive experiment, see if you feel at all antagonistic in your meditation, because everyone that has seen this mounted here is like, you can't possibly use that in your meditation. It would make people antagonistic. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. So, all right. So maybe not. Let's find out. Perfect way to begin. It is a very nice bell. So we begin with our posture and establishing a posture. We're aiming for being upright without being uptight, allowing the natural curvature of the spine, shoulders over the hips, feet arranged flat on the floor or in a way that is not painful, and maybe we'll avoid too much fidgeting. Eyes can be open or closed. You may like the notion of tucking your chin ever so slightly. Hands can be arranged in your lap or palms down on your thighs. I'm focused on the seated posture, either sitting in a chair, a cushion, or a bench, but you could be lying down, standing, or even walking. And just here is one of the things that I will do while walking occasionally. It's not a go-to thing, but can be easily transformed into a walking practice. And just taking an inner weather sample. What's it like right now? So if it's helpful to name the sort of emotions that are present, can do that too. So sometimes I notice when I'm sitting, realize this is not an emotion, but maybe it's anticipation would be the right. But I will realize when I take that sample, there's an expecting. I'm expecting something. So I guess we could call that anticipation, maybe. And then finally, a few deliberate breaths. Slow and low is the tempo we're going for. Breathing in through the nose allows us to slow the breath down, sinking low into the belly. And as our inhale becomes our exhale, seeing if we can extend it. Sometimes I just sort of see how much I can how luxurious I can make these deliberate breaths. Like their straight recommendation from the concierge. And then our technique is a noting technique. Our focus range is hear, Hear, so mental talk, auditory sounds. So our instruction is when our attention moves and concentrates on something like the fridge that just started up. We notice that our concentration is on the fridge. We soak our concentration in and optionally label hear, Hear. And just for a point of clarification, you can just say here. You don't have to spell it out, but at least one person has told me that they prefer to say it and spell it. So borrowing from Jeff, just here, one of the things I will do is to sort of see how into what I'm concentrating on I can get. Especially when I know it's something that won't last, like the fridge is eventually going to shut off. So just like, how into that fleeting sound can I get? And so with all of that, I let you explore just here on your own. And I'll chime in if I have anything that I think might help your sit. And so if you don't practice with sounds often, you can kind of have this moment of blurring where you sort of practice with sounds and then you move into maybe feeling your breath, or you're practicing concentrating on sound and then you move into maybe an aspect of the feel space, if you will. So seeing if you can, if you notice yourself doing that, seeing if you can sort of graciously sort of move back to sounds without it being too jarring. And if you catch yourself just kind of doing that often, see if you can kind of handle sort of splitting between the two. In other words, you're oscillating between feel and hear and feel and hear. So again, if it's not happening for you, great. But if you are experiencing that, just a potential experiment. And I'll offer one more experiment here. Just if you've been able to get into a groove with just here, flashing your concentration on feel, both feel in and feel out. Again, your mileage may vary, but when I practice just here in a longer sit about this length, I'll notice that I have pleasant sensations or restful sensations in the body. So that could be a feeling of achievement or taking care of myself. So feel in. And that could be just a pleasant bodily sensation, a physical body sensation. So again, just flashing on the body. Doesn't have to be long. And then shifting back to just here. So perhaps you're hearing the sirens that are coming in from my space, or voices, the wabi-sabi clock. Or maybe you are hearing the absence of the fridge. So all of those things in my environment could be encroaching on your environment. In some cases, the encroachment is not encroachment at all. It's a sort of delight, the morning doves, and the clock. It's part of the magic of mindfulness, non judgmental awareness. So, I will give you your choice for do nothing a little earlier than usual. So, if you want, you can continue with just here, or you could choose to just coast. So, in doing so, you're letting go of any intention to control your attention, and you're just sitting. Or, as Joseph Goldstein says, sitting and knowing that you're sitting. Sometimes I'm always shocked by how natural the knowing can be. So, again, your choice, your sit, your choice. Continue with the technique or shift to do nothing. And you can just, you've got noises showing up in your environment, just seeing if you've chosen do nothing, then you can just do nothing with it or laugh at them. And if you're still practicing just here, it's just another thing for you to note, soak your attention, and optionally label. No problem. Our sit has ended. This is my fair warning that I'm ringing the bell. Don't want the wrestling bell to be too jarring. And I appreciate incorporating it. So yeah, it is the resonance on it is really nice. That initial bell though, it definitely has the like fight sort of quality to it. So all right, so that was just here. And then two, I'd be curious if you want to include in chat if you played around with rest. Did you notice that the bell put you in an antagonistic kind of like I gotta fight sort of way? Maybe not. Um, there is also this like priming maybe too that it's like uh, the association that you might have with a bell like a wrestling bell is like a let's get at it kind of a quality. So, um, yeah, I'm really glad I don't have a starter's pistol, Bob. One of my friends who saw that I had this in the background had jokingly said, "Whatever you do, don't use a pistol to start your, don't upgrade, don't escalate to that." um, so I don't know if it's everywhere, but when the walk signs turn on, there's this like machine gun noise, and I always think about if you had limited vision or like I guess the noise sounds like a toy gun enough that you wouldn't mistake it for machine gun noise, but there's got to be a better noise for the walk sign is on than like that noise, that like machine gun noise. So, oh, did I miss a here rest question? What does it mean to play around with rest? Okay, Elaine. So rest, we can interpret rest in the musical sense, where there was something that was there and it's gone. So that's one way of looking at rest. And I think that I got the right question right, Paul. Let me know if there's another question beyond. And then so so the idea would be the rest would be something's there and then it's gone. And the fridge, although you don't know the layout of my little monk pad here, but the kitchenette is in that direction. That's where the fridge is. So when the fridge turns off, we can think of that as rest. Um, the one way of experiencing this, we can set up a mindfulness experiment for the week. When you're in a place where it is loud and you step into a room or a hallway where it is now went from being loud to being way less loud, that would be another example of rest. Ralph, who is a fantastic teacher, will use the idea of being in a dark room, going into a light room, or going from a light room to a dark room as another way from a visual perspective of this. Like, I have a certain amount of activation, I bring that down. Yes, Ruth, that is the thing that we keep coming back to, that I don't have a good example of this. So so gone and rest are in this tenuous space, as Ruth is pointing out, where you notice that there's an activation of something, either in see, hear, or feel, and then it's gone, like disappears. Classical Buddhist teachings, they talk about this as being something where you're noticing the arising and passing of things. So you're noticing the arising and passing. The other distinction with rest is there is a pleasant quality to it. So like the initial ring of the bell is kind of jarring, but the sonorous part of that we might think of that as a pleasant quality. So that would be another one. And yeah, so oh yeah, an example of I missed Ronnie's example, but yeah, so background noise sounded a little okay. Yeah, so there's that underwater quality, or like when you notice, like when sound is like filtering through something. Trying to think of Charlie Brown adults probably doesn't match that as a good comparison, but yeah, so hopefully that helps a little bit. I think the easiest way to get into contact with rest, so it doesn't snow here very often, but I sat in front of my sliding glass window when it snowed here about like 5 years ago in Tucson, and just watched the snow come down. And I was thinking of that as a visual rest kind of quality, just because it was just so pleasurable, and I didn't have any of the dread that I would associate with it when I lived in Minnesota as a kid, when you would dread how cold it was going to be. Um, and then I'll say the last little bit, which is that I think the idea of you're holding something and then you put it down, and the sensations that you have of I had contracted muscles and now I don't. I would think of that as rest, or like I've been walking for a long time and I sit down. That's another way for us to sort of experience rest. And the notion is Ruth was sort of, or what Ruth's point is sort of hinting at, is that rest is available in the see category of experience, the hear category of experience, and the feel category of experience. So, but yeah, and like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to try to hassle Ralph again to see if I can get the like definitive Ralph answer for rest and gone. Because that is definitely one of these things that I've need to tune up in my understanding. So, awesome. Well, that's super great. Cool. I am going to a baseball game tonight. Yes, the release of tension would be another way of thinking about it. We could also think of rest as being the pleasant sensations around or consequent to, like, or the release of tension. So, which, yeah. So you'll notice, like, sometimes when we're trying to create feel good, we'll contract and then release, or we'll contract and we'll release. So. Oh my gosh, you're going to see Ralph on Saturday? What is going on Saturday? Awesome. Okay, well, that's good, Ruth. Well, oh, that's right. That's right. Ralph, and do you have a link to that? I should publish, or I should mention this. Kevin Lacroix and Ralph. I keep mentioning Ralph by one name as though he's like Cher or Madonna, but in my world he is. Ralph Andradez. They're just a delightful pair. You should totally let's see if I can find sharing practice. Is that what it is? I think it is. Let's see. Okay. There's a link in the bio here, but it is incredibly well worth your time and energy. So, so just a quick random comment. Not that Ralph and Kevin need me to go on and on about it, but so I'm a unified mindfulness coach. Like, and I like being a coach, but that's my own problem. Yes, and if you can give a thumbs up, that'd be super amazing. I think we almost had like 100% thumbs ups on the Monday. Bye, Gabrielle. And Ralph and Kevin are teachers, so that's the distinction. So they're just like the distinction above me. So, but yeah, if you're logged into Instagram, you should be able to find that. I swear, though, there's like I think there's an Eventbrite link somewhere for sharing practice. Let me see if I can find that quick before my ride shows up. Here. Yeah, I can't find it. But it's called Sharing Practice. If you have an Instagram account, you should be able to find it in the link in the bio. I'm not logged in on my computer, so I can't get to it. But yeah, so yeah, and the two of them together are super awesome. I really appreciate the collaboration. I love it when teachers can pair well like that. I think it's nice to get Jeff and Tasha together. I think that's really interesting to see the pairing of those two perspectives. Dan doesn't think of himself as a teacher, but Dan Harris and Jeff together is always a fun combination. So, all right, I've gone on long enough. Thanks for the extra thumbs up there. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your week. Happy Thursday, the folks tuning in Australia. Yeah, if you didn't get the Zamboni, if you didn't get the Zamboni pictures and stuff, or you haven't seen those yet, those are in there. And then next week I will be in full van life mode somewhere. Let's see, probably in Northern California somewhere, but somewhere in Oregon and Northern California, near a Sprinter van or a state park of some sort, maybe even a truck stop. Who knows? Not that I should tease truck stops to us, but truck stops are fantastic. So, all right, have a great one. Bye, everybody.